Hello there, folks. My name is Spoonks, and I saw The Batman, and it was great. Now, while I didn't love it as much as most people, I definitely don't think it's a masterpiece. It's definitely got some issues, and I definitely prefer something like The Dark Knight over this. I just thought that was a better movie. I still found this to be a very entertaining, solid Batman film overall. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. The main thing about this movie that makes it stand out amongst other Batman films is that it goes all in on the detective angle of Batman. This movie plays out more like a crime thriller in the same vein as something like Seven than your typical Batman movie would, and it's probably going to catch a couple of people by surprise, and it may affect your enjoyment on the film as a whole. But overall, I loved it. I loved seeing Batman and all the different clues these characters had to solve and endure just to hopefully make it out of the situation alive. I thought it was very creative, intense, and really well handled and furthered the story as a whole. And throughout the story, we also get to learn new interesting details about the setting and the characters as well. We get to learn more about Gotham and how it has affected the lives of many people here, and how it also is not really the best place to live in. It kind of treats its citizens like crap, so they technically really do need Batman to in order to solve all of these crimes and such. And I found that to be very interesting to learn more as the movie went on. And we also get to learn more about the Wayne family and how that affects Bruce Wayne, his character as a whole. And throughout the movie, we start to learn that what Bruce was told about his parents is not what they have been led to seem. And speaking of Bruce, let's talk about the title character himself, the Batman. First off, Robert Pattinson gives an absolutely outstanding performance as Bruce Wayne. He brings such a threatening presence to the character whenever he's wearing the suit that anytime he's around a couple bad guys, they should be afraid and concerned for their health and safety, as he is there to solve this crime and leave with answers. But what also makes it interesting is that this is not the Batman we all know and love just yet. He's been doing this for 2 years, so he's just been starting out fighting crime and defeating criminals. So while he is very smart, he is very brutal with his fights and dealing with bad guys. He is not as smart or as clever as one would have expected, because he still has to deal with frustrating riddles and deal with situations where he has to act rationally and think fast before anyone else, and deal with things where he doesn't know what the outcome could be, which I thought was really well done as well. And as a character study on Bruce Wayne as well, it was also really well done, because like I said, he gets to learn more about his impact on the city as being an orphan, and some things are brought up about his parents throughout the movie that I thought were really well done and added to the character as a whole. But Batman isn't the only character in this movie, as there are other characters here as well, obviously, and they were also really complex, likable, and entertaining to watch. Jeffrey Wright and Zoe Kravitz do a stupendous job playing both Commissioner Gordon and Catwoman, aka Selina Kyle. Their performances were up to Robert Pattinson's as well. They were just giving it their all and having a blast doing it as well. The chemistry and anytime they were on screen with Batman just brought so much joy to my eyes. Just seeing these characters working together and solving crimes and solving these riddles and puzzles was just wonderful to watch. They brought so much charm and life and personality to these characters. I loved them on screen. There was also Colin Farrell as the Penguin, who is hands down the funniest character in the movie, mainly because he is the most cartoonish and over-the-top character in this whole movie. He is literally hamming it up, chewing up scenery. Colin Farrell is having the time of his life. Couldn't think of anyone else better to play this version of the Penguin as a whole than Colin Farrell. he just brought so much joy and life every time he was on screen. And then lastly, there is Paul Dano's The Riddler, who gave, well, okay, let me just say it right now. Everyone in this cast did a phenomenal job with their performances. Loved it, loved it, loved it. A+ material. Let's just state that up front. Everyone just did a phenomenal job. But Paul Dano's Riddler was actually kind of terrifying and threatening, and anytime he was on screen, I kind of got a little, my stomach was getting a little uneasy, if you will, just because of how threatening and actually kind of scary and intimidating the Riddler was in this movie. He was so intimidating that it even kind of messed up Paul Dano a little bit, as he is discussed in some interviews. And I really liked how they handled his character, because he has a connection with Batman himself that I wasn't expecting, and his motivation for his plan was really well done, and once again had a connection to Batman that I didn't see coming. Also, is it just me, or was Paul Dano, like in the latter half of the movie and with some of his lines, trying to replicate Jim Carrey's Riddler? I don't know, just some of the ways he delivered his lines or acted out in certain scenes just felt, this kind of reminds me of Jim Carrey. Is he trying to replicate what Jim Carrey did back in Batman Forever? Is it just me noticing this? And the last positive thing I will say about this movie is the action scenes are stunning. Now, while it doesn't have as many as one would have expected, when they are utilized, oh boy, they are utilized. They're intense, exciting, heart-pounding. Some people might even feel the urge to hold on to the person near you or hold tightly onto the armrest of the chair. They are really well done, well shot, well choreographed, and they are also quite brutal to watch, especially for a PG-13 movie. You feel every punch, every kick, every jab, every stab, every jab. I think I said jab already, but whatever. It is insane. It is really brutal for, once again, for a PG-13. So much so that I think it got held back by the rating, but we'll get onto that later. And this probably will have my favorite action chase scene of the year. There will probably be more comic book movies that have some cooler action scenes with some really top-notch special effects, but nothing will top that car chase scene between Batman and the Penguin. That was top-notch. That's all I will say about that scene as a whole. But unfortunately, I do have a couple of issues that hold this back from being a masterpiece in my eyes. One thing is, and we discussed it briefly a couple minutes ago, I felt that the film was kind of held back by its PG-13 because there are some brutally violent things that happen in this movie. Like, I don't know how this movie was able to toe the line between a PG-13, because some of these things, there would be more than just a couple droplets of blood here and there. But I definitely felt some of the scenes where the Warner Brothers executives came in, it's like, no, you gotta tone this down. PG-13, can't go R just yet. PG-13 right now. And it kind of took the weight and the severity out of some of these brutally violent moments, because it left me thinking, well, that's not how that scene would usually play out. There'd be some more things there, and it would be a lot more violent images occurring here than what the movie's perceiving. This movie also is way too long. I'm sorry, but there's a couple of moments in the middle where it just drags, and I felt that it could have cut out a couple moments and a couple of characters. Like the Penguin, while he was very funny and I loved the performance, he didn't really add much to the story as a whole, and it kind of felt like a wasted opportunity. And I definitely felt there was a lot of things they could have cut out of this movie to shorten it down a bit, because it didn't need to be 3 hours. At most, this movie could have probably been 2 hours, 15, maybe even 25 minutes at most. And the last thing I will say about this movie is the ending. While it was cool and I loved how it wrapped things up in terms of the characters, I felt that the villains initial plan wasn't really built up all that well. Like, there was really no leading up to this specific thing occurring in the movie, and it kind of felt like it was coming out of nowhere. The final battle was still really cool and fun and exciting and all, and where it ends everything as a whole was really cool, but I felt that it could have built up to it a bit better. And there was also that one scene that I'm pretty sure everyone is already aware of that just came out of nowhere and felt very forced. It just kind of interrupts the flow of the conclusion of the film, and it felt like you really had to insert this in here. You couldn't save this for like the post credits, or at the very least after like the big title card drop at the end of the movie. It had to be here, really. It just felt very forced and out of place. But still, I had a very good time with the Batman. I loved the more emphasis on the detective angle side to Batman. Loved how we got to explore more about Gotham as a whole and explore more about the Wayne family's backstory as well. The characters were all likable. The story was engaging. It's action-packed, and overall a very solid Batman film. I don't see how any Batman fans, I apologize, especially if they're hardcore fans of Batman, would not get a kick out of this movie. I had a blast with it. Go check it out. I definitely think it's worth your time. While I didn't love it as much as everyone else, I still highly recommend it. Go check it out. And those were my thoughts on The Batman. What did you all think of it if you've seen it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all the social media links at the end of the video. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.
Everything is Batman. Everything is cool when you're Batman. Everything is Batman. Because I'm Batman.